Hello, everyone. How are we keeping? Welcome back. Um, yeah, this is really a big honor for me to introduce you, the readers, on our closed mic session. This is always a very nice section of the festival every year where this year's graduates, cadets from the Ovale boot camp of poetry writing get to come up here and share their work with you all. So yeah, I'm just going to introduce them kind of one by one as they come up, and I'll let them speak for themselves. So first up, could we have Ola Leila Matzo, please.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ukrainian poet living in Ireland. I'll read some poems. Sorry for my English. Today, the sun forgot what to do. To rise or to set. It just hovered between the earth and sky, between yesterday and tomorrow, between you and me. The moon was surprised, looking at it from this side, thinking for a long time what to do, was hesitating. And then it rose instead of the sun, and no one knows anymore whether it's morning or evening, yesterday or tomorrow, whether the sun is shining or the moon. Are we on earth or in heaven? Is this us or not? Is this us or not? Today I was given the task of choosing a philosopher, and I thought, in fact, it was an examination of modern cultural theories. Not only philosophers were on the list, but I'm most interested in them. So the teacher said, choose the question you know best and write so that I believe that you really worked it out. Another question will be from me. Here it is, a real existence, I think. Here it is, my favorite absurdity. Here it is, a whole in being. Where is it one metaphysical center? Here it is, the whole crisis of culture in my mind. Here it is, a game. Are we already in Castalia? I see how the beats roll. Signs are the only landmarks in the world of culture. Here it is, semiotics. Who are you, my sign? How do I interpret you? Here it is, the whole philosophy of life, right in front of me in the list of these questions. Just choose. The main thing is not to confuse anything. Here it is, puerilism. Are we already serious? The game precedes culture. The game creates culture. The game has long filled life. Culture develops in the game and as a game. The cult grew into a sacred game. Poetry was born in the game. And I am studying at the university for the second time, again, and two specializations, because I still don't know who I am and who I want to be. Am I studying or playing properly? Science is hostile to life because it's based on artificial intelligence. that systematizes everything. Striving for a better life fills society with an element of play. The world itself is neither absurd nor reasonable. It is beyond human reality. The absurd exists only in the human universe. A human is constantly outside himself, herself. A human can exist only in pursuit of transcendent goals. A human is present in the mystery of divine existence and receives in it the strength to create. A human, through the experience of bodily presence, is part of the flow of time and history. It's all spinning in my mind until some moment of axial time, Apollonian and Dionysian principles harmonize in me, and I say, Nietzsche, I choose Nietzsche. And I think, I'm sorry, Friedrich, I'm not superhuman. And thank you, philosopher, for being a poet. For only the aesthetic phenomenon of being is justified by eternity. Is not it? Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Ola. Next, we're going to go to Zoom now and check in with a longtime friend of O'Vale, Rafe Boylan, who's coming to us from Coventry, who's been a big supporter of the Cork Coventry Twin Cities Exchange for many years now. So it's great to have him featured as part of the festival. You can take it away there, Rafe.
Cheers. Cheers. Can you all hear me all right? Yeah, thank you. Right, I'm going to do a free for you. It's a real honour to be here at the Winter Warmer. It's a great festival. Thanks. This is the ever-present threat of teeth. These days, people throw compliments. They assume I will snaffle up mid-air. But the black wolf at my side clamps his paws over my ears and swipes them away with his tail. I say, good boy. He is just protecting me from the dangerous indulgence of developed self-belief. For years, the wolf has shadowed at my heels, only an occasional whimper to remind me he was there, not enough noise to overwhelm with despair. We don't talk about the times he tried to rip my throat out, no. We lock that in a crate labeled the incidents and store it all in the past. Visitors now accept the wolf, how he sits between us on the couch, guarded. Give him a little fuss. When did you last play tug of war? Has he been behaving? With the idea of not existing. We check his lead for signs of fraying. Cheers. And the one I said, a bit chirpier, like literally, it's called The Early Bird Gets Caught Out. If you venture outdoors between 4 and 5 a.m., it quickly becomes clear humans have an unspoken social contract with the birds, that this hour belongs to them, to behave as strangely as they desire, unobserved. You expect alarm clock choir singing loftily from treetops, unseen, overhead and overheard. But here they are, glitching from driveway to wall to wheelie bin, exchanging looks as you approach, scolding you in birdsong tuts and tisks, incense tweets that go viral around the streets. You soften your tread, shoulders tensed in guilt, but still you are detected. Every few steps startles little rockets skywards. Shame on you, lone intruder, until all the cars and all the people reclaim the day when you switch back to full potential, both predator and prey. Ta. And last one, it's technically like a COVID lockdown poem, but I feel it works for this time of year as we go into the darker days. It's called Only Temporary. Hibernation stasis, cocooned in hard outer shells to block out the deathly call of winter, where even the air has its fangs exposed, ready to sink into flesh, lungs, and bone. Stripped back to basics, your favorite tree looks so vulnerable. Beyond our control, pressure has been applied to the pause button for too long, and we are all stuck on the wrong side of the windows, watching the leaves freely let go like a trust exercise. If they can put that much faith in the system, why can't I? This city is a religion. Believe in its people. Bear witness to their capacity to be kind. But after 10 months thrust into this role of social suicide, fragile and fading out of existence, except in our own minds, haunted by hostile polarities we find littering our world, like jettison protection, fumbling through crowded walkways, flinching from every face, masking its empathy, grasping for a smile, just one to recharge the day. Cracks start to show. Cold, numbed, shut down, rooted to the same desk chair. No matter how dismal the clouds seem now, the sun will grace the sky with its company again. Each season lingers for only a doorstop visit. We're waiting. Won't be long until the first sightings of green, pegged to branches like tiny messages of hope, speech bubbles that whisper reassuring wisdom. Color returns to limbs. Step outside, rejoin the forest of people. Headlines break, but the trees do not. Most remain no matter how harsh the winds. Look at us. We stand together, unbending in dignity, while the vital thrills we cling to are pillaged by bluster. We will gain back what is ours. This suffering, only temporary. Cheers.
Thanks a lot, Rafe. Next up, it is my great pleasure to introduce to you Rosie O'Regan.
I'm so very happy to be here with my community of poets. And I've been coming for a very long time, but I always worried about people thinking it might be nepotistic for me to take part in this, because I share my life with this man. I'm very lucky in that regard. So I'm really happy to be here today. So I've been on a bit of a journey to kind of reclaim my deep nature in co-creation with the world around me, the people and the more than human. So that's where I am at the moment. I would ask that you maybe don't clap after every poem, because you might not like them and I don't want you to feel you have to. And also because I kind of like the space around poem, and also to test myself to see if I can hold that silence, because I'm a little bit nervous, but we'll see how we go. Invitation. There is a path that is not paved. It knows your name, the one you have forgotten. Body weather, Beara Peninsula, for Neve. In this silence, she brings seaweed, tells me to trace its saline sap over the skin of my face. I carry rock-drained bunches back, slip them into a hot bath of rain-yellowed wild water. Earth, sea, sky. Minerals dissolve. I lower the soft stones of my body in. Islands curve out. Grass ripples over rock. A shoreline I breathe. Witness the pulse of my heart in the breath of my belly. 1 beat per second until the full swell of me absorbs it, conceals it for 3, 4, 5 seconds. The dips return, cyclical. Water light moves. My belly eye weeps. Blue. After I went to see the water today by Inari Hulkonen. Inari remembers the lake, her whole world nestled around it. In the beginning, it was her only mirror. Inari's eyes are blue. They travel. Today, she places shoreline stones on concrete, blue, white, grey on grey, with calm, quiet intent. She has carried them to this moment in a plastic bag, a red one, brought from a bookstore in Finland, repaired on the Beara with tape that reads fragile. Inari dances barefoot, soft as sand, mist over the stones. Her eyes skim to the horizon. Remember the lake. She will go to the water today. And this next poem comes with an introduction, and it was written in a play date, on a play date with a cellist and a dancer. So in the introduction. Picture a dancer, a woman. Kanako is her name. She stands not far away, eyes closed, inward looking. See breath beneath her skin, her slow rise, nuance in every move. See her hands lift, open to the sky as a leaf unfurls. First roots for Kanako. She dreams of becoming a tree, to speak the language of leaves in all weather. She imagines roots, delicate as veins, strong enough to grow through rock. The hairline cracks. Always that thirst for water, clear as the look in her eye as language loses all meaning. Soil of the earth, sky, rain, feet, trunk, eye, branch, hand, leaf. Her fingers filter sunlight. Stillness moves. Fallen. A fallen tree buds new leaves long after it came down. Year after year, new leaves. Branches that once spanned out in time stand tall. The journey to treedom made possible by the fall. And this next one now, so on my journey of reading and meeting people and seeking out elders, we need to find our elders on this planet, I think. There's a man named Ted Cook who lives down in West Cork, and he's a beautiful man, bright, beautiful man, and so knowledgeable about all things environmental and trees. So when I went to a talk with him, so this next poem, people talk about found poems. This is really a stolen poem because nearly every line is something that he said in that talk, and it's a bit of a work in progress. So it doesn't have a title, it's just called After Ted Cook. They are the standing people, the ancient ones, the cradle of the water cycle. See the spirit behind the material. Honor the next breath. They are going away from us, losing their vigor. Cutting our forest is like cutting Samson's hair. We are a deciduous people. We need the light in the trees, have misplaced our wisdom. The word wild, comes from the word willed. We had our own will. We too will wither away. Stay sane. Restore your relationship with the forest. The deepest imprint is when we share. And this final poem is just a series of sentences that I put under the heading, Things to Write on Pavements. 1. Water is our greatest freedom. 2. Walk backwards into the future. 3. The memory of your footfall reverberates long after you pass. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Rosie, for that beautiful reading. Next up to the mic, we're going to have Mo O'Connor.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. I went to O'Vale. It's always good for a pensioner to get an extra morning walk. I'm going to start off here with a poem from a childhood memory, an old poem, one of my old poems from years back. And it's a poem when the travellers were passing to school. We called them tinkers in those days. It wasn't a derogatory term. They had the round top caravans with the half door on the back. And the rest of the children were afraid of them, but I was envious. I was wondering, how come I can't go with them? So here it is. It's from memory, obviously. We ran to the wall to watch the tinkers pass, from schoolyard noise to silent stairs. Brightly coloured caravans, dogs and goats, clip-clop of ponies on the autumn road. I caught the stare of a girl sitting by the half door and felt the soul of a gypsy. I longed to be on that never-ending road, to be the one with no fixed abode. Tallow Horse Fair in September was their time, while we were back in school with the brief taste of freedom still burning from the summer. They took their summer with them, stretched it to October and beyond, and bent it like the tin pots they mended for my mother. Thank you. Thank you. Here's another poem from my home place, Ballybride, and this is a memory of walking, and it was gladiolas growing wild, believe it or not, with my mother and her two sisters. I remember the day we picked gladiolas, my mother, my aunt and I, on Ballybride Road, untarred in mid-July. We sat by the well near Morrison's orchard. It mirrored the clouds flying by. They laughed like only sisters can. I dropped a stone in the sky. Sometimes a car passed along. I fanned the dust from my eyes. The dog, confused and breathless, would smother me with affection. When they tickled me on the soft green grass, I laughed almost to a sigh on Ballybride Road in mid-July. I prodded the tadpoles with a twig as it told me about the bottomless well. I awed their infinite wisdom and wondered what if I fell. I thought of the stone forever falling, rippling the blue of a summer sky on Bellybride Road in mid-July. Thank you. This next poem I wrote for my brother Peter, who died tragically, 91 suicide. And, it's a poem about the Irish experience of maybe not displaying emotion, especially amongst men. And it's a poem called Words Unsaid. I remember well the day I left, so much left unsaid. An awkward embrace from my brother, now 10 years dead. You splashed water on my face, blessed in Knock last June, feeling the words of emotion. I promised a letter soon. Though we have forged the adjective on poetry's anvil, bent it to and fro at will, held a noun like a slitter, and hurled it forth with Joycean skill. The simple words of the heart are the ones we fear the most. Like the mighty oak, you did not bend. You went your own way to the end. When society's drummer drummed, you walked your own way, his beat you shunned. Now when I hear of a friend or neighbour who died unexpectedly, I am crushed all over to the core. The words unsaid will ring forevermore. Thank you. Now this poem is a happier memory and kind of a sad memory too for the sporting side. This poem is from a memory in 1967 when Cork were after winning the All-Ireland and we were beaten by Waterford, Casey's County, in the first round. And there was only 2 silent car trips I remember in my life, and this is one of them. Because in them days, we didn't have radios in cars, but it was fierce yapping and singing, maybe even going through the match and coming back. And the second car trip that I have read was a dog we brought down to Waterford. And we had the dog well dosed up from a corrupt chemist who gave us a driver. And the dog started fighting at the first bend, and every shilling that we robbed out of my mother's stockings for masses and everything was bet on the dog. So that was the second car trip. But this is called the silent car trip. And I mentioned a song, it is called Caldy Springfield Boy, which is a local song in Tallow. And I was a man known to be singing when I was young fella with my dad. I remember the eerie silence, my father staring in disbelief as the final whistle blew. Having slayed the dragon in '66, we were kings of the world. Not the foreign world, but the real world, the holding world. The death-like finality of a first-round defeat dropped like a winter fog as we left the Norman stronghold. The silent car trip home in the white Cortina until we stopped in Talla for one in the corner house. The match replayed. Someone called for Cowley Springfield Boy. I stood on a stool and sang a Dubliner song. My father proudly smiled. Sure, it was only a match, no one died. A kind of a newer poem here now. Oh, is that it? Oh, sorry about that. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Mo. Sorry for cutting you short there, but we're just there's quite a big list that we still have to go through here. But yeah, thank you so much for your reading. Next up to the mic, we'll have Mona Lynch, please.
Thank you. And thank you, Paul, for inviting me to read here today. Get compliments like this keep you going. When autumn started there, I was driving in the back road to Carrigaline, and the first line of this poem happened, and I had to write the poem. Driving, it's called Autumn Ramble. Driving through a confetti of autumn leaves excites me. I get out. Now I can hear the rustle in the undergrowth as field mice and voles scrabble to nibble berries still growing on low-lying brambles. Crossbills, crazy finches nuzzle the pine cones at the entrance to a manor house. Plants afoot everywhere. Dropping temperatures bring nutrients back from leaves into the branches. I pause at a stone wall draped with ivy. That will survive the winter. Its waxy leaves, a redeeming feature. In the river below, I spot late golden brown dragonflies darting sideways, even backwards, over stems and leaves, snatching meals on the go. Bunches of ash keys lie on the ground beside the river under a lone stalwart, still surviving. The infected ash has joined our threatened curlews, corncrakes, yellowhammers, even our swifts, all threatened by human behaviour. The squirrels' forgotten hordes ensure some trees will continue to thrive. Climbing through a stile, I struggle uphill, wade through heathers and ferns. Why do they grow so happily here, yet resist all my efforts to grow them in my garden? Nearer to the bright blue sky now, I spot a thurlock to my left. No surprise after the deluge. Deluging rain of the past week. Delighted waders dip and duck splatter happily, but do they realize it could vanish as quickly as it came? I plan to return when it is dark, hoping to see our only true hibernators, our bats. I'm intrigued to learn that though a handsome bat may use his wiles to impregnate a willing female, but she has the last laugh as she holds on to his seed until it suits her to fertilize. Then she becomes a devoted mother, minding her pups in the dark for weeks, when along with other mothers, she places them in a bat creche until they're ready to take off. I return through the trees, who, while still pounded by the wind, their arms akimbo, are pleading for my protection. And like my friend here, I have a dark poem next on the same dark subject. It's very short. It's called Freedom. He did not travel to the dark lake, lay his body down amongst the reeds, nor used the coiled brown snakes in the barn. Neither did he knot the bleached cotton sheets. He, a trunk of a tree, surrendering with nothing to lose. A tradesman, a poet of longings, with pen, paper, a toolbox. The Hilti gun released him from his prison, and the paucity of blood surprised me. Some of our men who went away to the First World War took the King's shilling, and when they came back, they were social pariahs. That's sort of what's behind this poem. Sabbath ritual. I had a father, but was sometimes fatherless. His nurturing diverted to his white-collared friend in a pint glass. Saturday nights he would spend drowning demons, horrors of war, survivor's guilt. Nevertheless, he rose early on Sunday morning to attend Mass, mingle with neighbours, dance the dance. He began his ritual with shoe polishing. Then, taking his cutthroat razor from his wooden case, he would tug the strop dangling from his hoop by the window. With controlled rhythm, he would stroke the razor up, tilt it on the way down, using the ball of his thumb to check. A satisfied surgeon. Placing it on the ridged wooden draining board, he'd fill the Roton Toby mug with water, hot from the kettle on the hob. Lather the badger-haired brush on a lump of Lifebuoy soap. Candy-flossed jowls sagged under shaggy brows. Grin, scrape, round the bends and skim the slopes. An equine toss in an avalanche of water. Job done. His youngest, his old Segotia, I'd approach, eager to see the finished job, watch the light caress his face, showing divots stuffed with blood-stained water. Testament to a shaky hand. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Mona. And we'll just give it a quick reminder at this point just to keep the readings to about 5 minutes if you can. Next up to the mic, we're going to have Karen Casey.
Thank you. How are you going? Good. That's beautiful, Mona. Brave. So this is called Heathrow again. L'Occitane. No problem. Oh, sorry. Here. You think I'd know about microphones? Yeah. Heathrow again. L'Occitane, the metallic branding of cultures. Versace. Gucci refashioning Matisse as a handbag. Clarins, neon red and white blue light. Nivea knows how to treat a lady. Nivea knows how to treat you, baby. Harrods with real tea, Burberry. In the queue I spot my red boots, chalked and caked in mud from this morning when we crossed over the tank field of Gert Alling. I held your small warm hand and listened to your chatter, charmed. Your worries, your small pale face searching mine for the answers to infidelities in the classroom, slights made bigger, sensitivities made crimson. How I have tried to be gentle, to make the pain go away. My mother's oval green eyes beseeching me not to go. Herds of shadows passed through. Then you see someone and skip on and let me go, just like that. For you are the flower in the bright green field, gathering the rain in the palm of your hand. You are the branches curling green, humming to the stars that are in between. You are the snowdrop in spring, leaning in to view your newly pressed white fragile dress. You are the alder in March with your honeyed nut brown hair. You are the hem of the ocean that sings. You are the primrose in all of my dawns. Turning, trudging back, keeping going in the pale grey Gurtalling air, I see your cheekbones high in Hartnett's mackerel skies. Keep safe, stay safe. My heart aches. I can't give you everything, but please wait for me. So that's a poem for my daughter Anya, and then we have another daughter, Muireann, and I can't do one without doing the other, so I get into trouble. New baby. Your eyelids were perfect, tiny trace lines of violet in the small face, alas, alive and living. Eyelashes growing by the millisecond out on the rims. The whirl of your dark hair made me smile. Look at the Iover, the old midwife laughed while running the tap to lull you to ancient sleep. Waters flowing, internal systems repeated and replaced. You didn't obey us. We couldn't fool you. Here you are, swaddled in the cot, still awake. We all gazed at you. Oh, she's pretty, my mother said, and makes me feel woozy on the inside. Oh, she's pretty, my mother said, and makes me feel woozy on the inside. Later, I could hear your howl from the other end of the ward. I knew you, hurtling up the hall. I couldn't get to you fast enough, hardly able to walk, but I made it. I took you back then, insisted on keeping you. Tiny, red, angry fists curled up in a rage in the middle of the night. Big purple heels flying out, trying to feed you, the first in generations I failed. We kept the whole ward awake. Dismissed and dismayed, we kept at it, determined. The woman across the way leapt out of the bed, shoved into her tight jeans, crunched her feet into the high heels, held on to her drip for balance. I'm off for a fag, girl. That child is starving. Would you ever give it a fucking bottle? I cried and asked you if you were starving. You didn't answer back. Today, you stand by the fridge, eating, 19 and eating. You close your eyes and the same violet veins appear. You are beautiful, and I am never tired of loving you, my beautiful, hungry girl. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thanks a lot, Karen. It's beautiful. Next up to the closed mic, we'll have John Horan, please.
Thanks, Kieran, and thanks, Paul. I'll just do 3 quick poems. This first one, some of you know, I might have to give it a rest now because it served me well for the last 2 years. It's a mental health poem about letting go of stuff so you can move on and transcend, which is such an easy thing to say and hard thing to do. It's called Weightless Memories. I stared at the sun too long. It burned out my brain a bit. I'm not speaking metaphorically. It was something my therapist said to me. I was focused on forgiveness and letting go of the bad bits that were lodged in little crevices, snuck within the dark cliffs, down in the black bits and puddles of darkness. In my mind, I saw the moon reflecting, glowing, gleaming egg yolks. I thought I'd nick a jewel, twinkling on the ridges, of ripples of forgiveness from pebbles I dropped into, lattices of sickness. Up to their old business, sucking the life out of me. There's no point in complaining. Nothing's ever easy. I just write some poetry in the hopes that it might save me. And to see if it's possible to sing something new into being. What if I could just be a melody of great seas, reaching for the love songs and moonbeams of gravity, weightless memories, rainbows of dust, and buried old identities. Nothing now but melodies and songs sung into me. Nothing now but moonbeams and weightless memories. That's my heart very attached So a breakup poem for all the romantics here. It's not really a broken heart one. It's kind of a raw-hearted one. And it's weird, everybody's running around looking for love, practically everyone. And it's so hard to find. How does that make sense? I don't know. We know, but it doesn't make sense. It's called The Last Love Poem because I was sick of writing poems about this girl at this point. And many have heard the progression last year. Okay. I've been trying all week to bury your ghost. You drove me out to the hills, left me with the wild birds and my desiccated slugs. Are the black wings still now? I guess we're both back to being unloved. It was all we wanted, and it wasn't enough. Now we're back to waiting for someone else to come. I hope we've learned something from this, to unwind the detritus that's still wrapped around us. Who knew love was such a complicated business? I'm sick of writing about this. I'm waiting for someone else. I'm working on being enough. I'm trying to be less complicated. Who knows if it'll ever pay off? We're trapped in glass, love. Can I still call you that? I think of you sometimes and say a prayer. I wanted to help, but I couldn't much. Do you think there's something up there that looks after us? I pray to them anyway, for you, for me, in whole different worlds, dreaming of love, and of one day, finally, being enough. That poem makes my heart feel raw again. But good. What's the last one? The last one's a good one to leave things with. It's called On the Dreaming. I wrote it to pep myself up, but I think everybody needs this message sometimes. Underneath the ravines, the rivulets and the streams, all is love, you know, all is love. Beneath the clouds, the thunder and the electric rain, there's a dream waiting to be born. Of the person that you could have been before the poison swept you away. It never really dies, that dream. It sings sad love poems to you in your sleep. It calls to you in the glimmers that break through, the trance of your yesterdays. If the sun can dance on water, if mothers can birth through labor, if junkies can go one day sober, then that dream can be born in you today and give you a whole new set of tomorrows. Believe in me now, child. One last time, or however long this takes. Take one last chance on the dreaming. It's about the only risk worth taking. I know you failed, child. Just one more time on the dreaming. Thanks very much.
Thanks a lot, John. Beautiful. And John was just telling me a while ago too that they've relaunched your poetry podcast. It's called Poetic License. So be sure to check that out. Oh, Subculture. So the podcast is called Summer Culture, and the series is called Poetic License. That was my fault. But yeah, be sure to check that out. Next up to the open mic, we're going to have Alexandra Toth.
So for today, I have a Hungarian poem, and I'm going to be reading the translation of it after that as well. This poem is about how I left my home country when I was very young, and kind of how I travel back every year to visit my family, and how I sadly have to leave them, and kind of the roots that I still have connected to like my homeland. Szerelem gyökerei. Gyermek voltam, mikor elhagytalak. Emlékem sehol, de családomnak van. Tudom, fájó szívvel búcsúztatok, de szeretetek lángja el nem halványolt. Hazamentem esztendőkön át, hogy lássalak bennetek, hogy lássam a világot, hogy lássam a hazám. Hálát adok, te néked, ó száguldó madár, te hűséges teremtmény, ki mindig értem jön. Túl hamar itt van, már menni kell, már itt az idő. Tudom, menni kell, ez az életem. Viszlát család, viszlát hazám. Várni még egy esztendőt? Képes vagyok rá? Vagy testem porrá vált gyászban? Hazám távol van már, de közel a lelkemhez. Anyanyelvemet el nem felejtem. Hogyan tudnám? Hiszen muzsik a szívemhez szól. Láthatatlan szalagni e földhöz köt. E szilárd talaj épített a testem. Magyar folyó csorog a véremben. A természet friss lehellete járja át lelkem, és tűző napsugarat szikrázik szemeimben. Emlékek kötnek hazámhoz, de mint egy álom felkelsz, hazád sehol a láthatáron. Szeméd más világot látnak, egy új látvány, egy új világ. Féltem, de már nem. Egy gyermek felnőtt, életemben új barátok, egy új szerelem, az új családfám. Szeretlek téged, ó szép hazám, de otthonomat már máshol lelem. Roots of love. I was only a child when I first left you. My memories have vanished, but my families have not. Does God brought pain upon your hearts, where love's flames never went dull? I went home, year by year, just so I could see you, to see my world, to see my home. I'm grateful to you, O speeding bird, such loyal being who always comes for me. It's here too early. Do I have to go? Is it time already? I know I have to leave. This is my life. Goodbye, my family. Goodbye, my home. To wait another year, I'm capable of doing it, or I'll watch my body turn to dust in grief. My home is far in distance, but close to my heart. I'll never forget my mother language. How could I, when such glorious music speaks to my soul? An invisible string entwines me to these grounds. Your soil has built my body. Your rivers and lakes flow through my veins, the foundation of my blood. Your nature's fresh breath created and nurtured my spirit, and your burning sun sparks the fire in my eyes. Memories bind me to this home, but like with all dreams, you wake up. Your home is nowhere in the skyline. Your eyes see a different world, a new sight, a new life. I was scared, but not anymore. This child has grown up. My life has new friends and new love, my new family tree. I love you, my beautiful home, but I have found a new home elsewhere now. Thank you.
Unreal. Thanks so much, Alexander. Cheers. So we just have two left now, and we're going to connect with our long-term friend of Ovale, Seamus Harrington, who's in the Maldives somewhere on a boat, so I hear. So he's going to join us now. There he is now.
Hi, Kieran. Hi, guys. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Greetings from the winter warmer research station. Tough job, but somebody has to do it, you know. Back to this old chestnut again of vehicles called a Jeep 4x4, off-roaders, which are marvelous invention in the right place, like pulling a boat trailer up a slipway or pulling a trailer out of a muddy field. But there's something in our psyche from watching films like Vanishing Point, Thelma and Louise, Easy Rider, Deliverance, that makes us long to be what I call urban cowboys. To free our cycle lanes, we'll grab a verb. The choppers know the last means of patrol. Off-roaders feel the need to mount the curb. No waiting seems to some a futile blurb. Each urban plan entails that meek cajole to free our cycle lanes, the noun and verb. Too smug, their smog belies a fragrant herb. That tow truck points the way to curb parole. Off roads reveal the breed and mount a curb. And gridlocked bull bars surely bling superb. They're less inclined to ride the grassy knoll to free our cycle lanes, a noun and verb. Will clearways need an AK toting Serb? Again, the lack of space will take its toll. Off-roaders wheel to speed and mount a curb. A sea of doldrum hooters still reverb as gloves massage the idle cruise control to free our cycle lanes, the yellow verb. Freeloaders peel the greed and mount a curb. So it was time for a reply, and this is an urban cowboy's pushback. What if you could afford a 4x4? Perhaps you'll sit inside an SUV. It's where you'll shed your Luddite lore. My steed could haul your ass forevermore. Perhaps you've sat inside an SUV. What if you could afford a 4x4? An upland trail I've heard you could explore. Perhaps you're flat inside an SUV. It's there you'll shed your Luddite bore. And hybrids now strike up a new rapport. Perhaps you're flat inside an SUV. You're flats inside an SUV. What if you could afford a 4x4? No need to sit inside a ragtop floor. Your bike will fit inside an SUV. It's fair you'll shed your Luddite core. Let's not reuse that hackneyed ozone bore. Perhaps your brat's astride an SUV. What if you could afford a 4x4? And there you'd shed your Luddite lore. A short one here goes way back to the time Patrick Galvin and the old premises for the Munster Literature Centre. And I got good encouragement. So, Mary O'Connell, this is for you. God's gable end. Lump hammers and chisels ring in the moonlight, bold Norman commission removed in one chunk. Improper, Monsignor, shedding scant lichen should never be mounted on God's gable end. Lugged to the causeway while crickets are rasping, dumped in the seaway, don't utter a word. Oh no, gasped the mermaid, sheeling a gig, shiver my lumbers, who ordained this? Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Seamus, and thanks a lot for joining us. Safe
My
travels.
pleasure.
Safe voyaging out there. Now to round off a really beautiful session, it's a great privilege to invite Philip Spillane up to close out the open or close out the closed mic. Thank you.
Hey all. Thanks very much for having me here. Just 3 very short poems. Moths mine labyrinths in green garments, a substitute for their personal honeycombs. They recycle the threads and knit them into dull rainbows of lime beige yolk and light emerald. They call this cross-stitch a talking map, which they robe religiously as it's a moving track, one that might hopefully lead them home to the sun where all the moths come from. Thanks. This is my first day at my new job. I thought I wouldn't like it, but apparently I do like it. So. But this is what came out of it by me treading it. It has its ups and downs. New job. This office tries to whistle, howling with the wind, inhaling it all in, harmonizing with the machines. The boned bird trees sway outside. It's evening time. They are lead with thousands of wagtails chattering, bathed in gold, under glowing globes of parking lights, harvesting insects they flutter. Watching from inside, losing my colors from the HDMI monitors, losing control of my imagination, my fingers cropped against the keyboard like I held her shoulders 2 months ago. I like you, she drunkenly said. Holding her close, I beg, everything would be all right. It would. I'd meet someone and then I would fly. She saluted. We eclipsed the final embrace. I let her return to her boyfriend, get home safe. Crying of what sort of poets are we? The office stopped whistling. The wagtails outside are not photo shy. I make out with the computer, finally rest and cry. Thank you very much. Vulva. Here she wears the sound of tides rolling onto the shore, a portal, the strongest part of her. The center, a supple citric place diluted in milk, watching as she walks naked comfortably around the bedroom. Curtains are wide open. She sits on the bed, her legs wide spread. I'm immersed, mesmerized, afraid, love. Thanks for listening.
Thanks so much, Phil. Nice one. Yeah, really nice to hear some new work there. Yeah, what a beautiful session. It was really big thank you to all of you for your work there. That was really, really moving session. And we just give one big round of applause, please, for all our readers: Ola Leah, Matzo, Sinead Boylan, Rosie O'Regan, Mo O'Connor, Mona Lynch, Karen Casey, John Horan, Alexander Koch, Seamus Harrington, and Philip Spillane. We'll be back in a half an hour.
Sorry, Kieran, it crashed on me. Back on again.